Hey everybody, it's Author Flory here, and I got another episode of Books and Booze for you, brought to you by Library Libations. You know, the show where I like to get on the internet and just kind of talk and drink and look like an idiot most of the time. But we do get some good books on here, and we get some good drinks. So I have a very special episode today. It's a change up. I've never actually interviewed anyone before in person, so this person is going to be breaking my virginity in this for the first time. So here we go. Author Fanny T. Crispin. Can I call you Fanny?
Sure can.
That works. How are we doing today, Fanny?
Doing great. How are you, Chris?
I am wonderful. So let's get into it here. First, before we do talk about you and your book, I have a little surprise. And I got your latest book, and it came in the mail yesterday. So we're going to do a little book mail opening. Let's tear into this Amazon pack here and see what we got. And what do I have? The Wizard Ring. So why don't you start off by telling me a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk about your books.
I like going to Renaissance fairs. My husband and I dress up, and we usually go like pirate themed. Because to do like the full Renaissance, it's too much. Like you'd have to build like a character, and then those costumes are generally more expensive. So we do pirates because it's more fun and it's more entertaining.
Pirates are awesome.
We do that during the summer, and then I've got a cat. She's my child. We've been together for about 12 years now, and then we just recently adopted a puppy. So he's our baby.
I've seen the pictures. He looks rambunctious.
He's very sweet. Honestly, he's very chill, which is good because we're pretty chill people.
Good. So everything's going, cat and dog getting together. We're fine.
Oh, we're working on it. Work in progress. You know, he wants to play and she absolutely does not. So
yeah. We had our dog passed in January, but when we were back in Indiana, my wife's brother had two cats, and we introduced him into the house. And he was very curious, and he stuck his nose out. One of the cats swatted him, and then after that, it was like they weren't even there. He just ignored them completely. Had no interest. If they came over to him, he'd just get up and walk away. He had no interest in them. And yeah, so weird, that dynamic between them. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad everything's working out in that area. So let's make our drink. What do you think? You got everything you need?
I got everything I need. I'm ready.
It's a very simple drink. There's nothing wrong with a good gin and tonic. I'm gonna put on some mood lighting here, since we're gonna be making a drink. Look at that.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, my bar's fancy. All right. So I got my fancy glass here. Nice big heavy thick drinking glass, round ice cubes, because I drink sometimes and it's important. Got my good Fever Tree tonic water. I have learned one thing, that tonic water makes the drink. And then Empress 1908 gin. Have you even tried this yet?
No, I just popped the cork now. So this is the first sip.
Now my hands are wet from the ice cube. There we go. So get you a shot and a half or a shot, however much you like. I usually make them a little stronger. You pour it in there, and you can see that it is the color there. It's kind of bluish.
Oh, that's pretty.
Then, yeah, it is. It's some sort of I don't remember. I watched a video on it, and now I already forgot.
Oh, you sent me that video.
Butterfly pea flower. Yeah, butterfly pea flower. That's what makes it this color. So apparently butterflies pee in this, so it makes it nice and blue. Then you take your tonic water, and when you do that, I'm going to go back to the regular lights so I don't mess it up. You pour it in, top it off, and watch it change color to purple.
Oh, it's for sure getting darker.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep. Mine actually went very purple.
Yours did. Well, I used club soda because
I've
discovered I'm not a huge tonic fan, but I'm glad you had it because that was very pretty. I'll have to try the Fever Tree. I'm not.
Yeah, it works out. They make a club soda too. I use club soda with vodka because it's like the lowest calorie drink you can have. But for a good gin, I still like a little tonic. So let's see what we got here. That's good. It's good, gin.
Well, that's lovely.
That was
I
mine
can
was a
definitely
tad
I can
bit
definitely taste
stronger.
like, yeah, the floral notes in there.
Yeah, it's a botanical, so it's a very good. Uh, it, I get why people don't like gin.
Yeah.
You get a Tanqueray, which is just absolute toilet water, but it does taste like Pine Sol. I mean, it really does. And then I got into Gray Whale, which is another botanical. It's the first one I ever tried. This one here.
Ooh, I like the bottle.
This is really, really good. And then some of my wife's friends bought this Empress 1908 for me, and I tried that, and I was like, oh, it's purple. That's cool. And then one of the bartenders uptown is a mixologist, and he was showing me that it changes colors when you add the tonic water, or if you add like lemon juice or lime juice, it'll make it change colors too.
Oh, see, now
So
I'm
you
gonna have
could
to
also
try.
do that.
I'm gonna try all sorts of things now with this because
Yep,
this is
just
fun. Like the video you sent me was just so cool too.
yeah, they really worked that video up. That was a very high quality video actually. Uh, so gin and tonic. So let's talk about Sir Ivan's Train Wizard Ring. So what do we got here? What kind of book is this? What am I going to be reading soon?
Well, that's actually the second in a duology. So you grab the
Okay.
second book.
All right.
But that one does conclude the duology that I wrote for Sir Ivan's Train. It originally was one book. And then when I started going to publish it, it would have been like 600 pages.
Yeah.
Because that's a chunky book, and that's just half of it. So when I was talking with, my friends, my editors, and they were like, you got to break this up. You got to make a trilogy or something. I'm like, well, I don't think there's enough for a trilogy, especially just the way it broke up. So I was like, I'll break it in half, and then it's at least sizable portions for a book, for a fantasy novel. So that's what I did. So this is a second installment. It follows these two sisters that are recently become orphaned, and they get adopted by the Sir Ivan. They have no idea who he is. They board a train to go visit him, and the train instead transports them to this magical place where they know nobody, where they know nothing. He doesn't even meet them. So it kind of follows their journey of finding a new home, finding a new family. It's very much a found family sort of book, and the adventures that they go on in this world and the dragons that they have to slay.
Okay. So what you're telling me is I have to buy book 1 too.
You might want to.
Okay. That's fine. I will. I am not against doing that. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is there a prologue in here?
No, I don't think those have a prologue.
Yay!
Are you against? Are you anti-log?
I am not anti-log. I am just, if you have a prologue, I'm probably going to skip it. And I'm just going to get into the book. I don't have anything against them. If people want to use them, that's perfectly fine. I found that it, in my experience, typically doesn't bring much to the book. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I just want to just name it chapter 1, man. Just name it fucking chapter 1 so I get into it. So yeah, no, that's fine. I had somebody yelling at me the other day about that. So I will definitely pick up the first one, and these are pretty chunky books. I mean, this is a big book, and that's a lot of pages.
I think that's 300 or 400 right there.
Yeah. That's in a mass market one. This is like a 600-page book.
Yeah.
And so what else do you have out there? What else have you written that's do you write something outside of this area, or is this kind of the world that you like to be in when you write?
No, most everything I've got is it's quite varied as far as like characters and worlds. I do have a series that I started in like high school, and that one I was in. I mean, there's gonna be probably 5 books for that one, but nowhere near publishing. I'm still editing it. I got 5 books to edit, so I'm not in a rush. But everything that I've been publishing is very separate from anything else that I've done, as far as like the world and the characters go.
Oh, okay. I guess what brought you to this series here, this duology? What brought you into that world? Well, I mean, I know you do Renaissance fairs, and that probably had something to do with it. that kind of artistic thing seems to go together. But what is it about that you like that makes you, want to write it? I know some people that write, fantasy. Some of our other author friends, like Dina and some of those people, they really love the world building. They enjoy that. And I'm glad, because if you're going to write something like this, you damn well better enjoy it, because you're creating everything. I write what I write because it's what I know. So, and I write the real world. I just make it, much more bloody and murderous. So what is it about that brings you into this?
That one, it's definitely writing what I know. I consumed a lot of fantasy as a kid.
Okay.
J.R. Tolkien, J.K. Rowling. I know people are on the fence about her right now, but I read.
She can think whatever she wants. Her books are amazing.
Yeah,
Don't care.
I read a ton, as a kid, and they were all fantasy or My Little Pony books, but I kind of outgrew that. So I definitely write what I know, and I know fantasy. I know magic systems. I know fantasy creatures. And then I enjoy the world building too. This is why all my worlds are different, because I kind of get bored. I'm like, I've already explored that world. Let's move on to something else, something more interesting. But this book specifically, my sister and I actually were writing at the same time around high school. She's only about 17 months younger than I am. And we used to do this challenge with each other. We would sit together, we'd come up with our characters, and we'd have to use the same characters. Then we'd come up with a plot, and we have to use the same plot. And then we'd separate and write our individual stories based on those criteria. And this is what came out of mine. I don't think she finished hers. Sometimes they just didn't jive with one or the other. Sometimes we came out with something, and it was kind of cool.
Two things. One, it's fucking awesome. Two, I find that amazing. I really admire people that can build these worlds. And from start, I understand that there's already been a foundation laid down through time. But still, to be able to just take that and then build these fantastical, crazy, beyond fictional worlds, it's to me, it's like somebody painting a portrait or painting a picture like the one behind you there.
Yeah.
I could never do that. That's not who I am. And because of that, because I can't do that, I find it just crazy. I find it amazing. And I really do admire people that can do that, because I think that, you guys are creating not just the characters and the story and the plot, you're creating this entire bubble within which all of that lives, and everything has to jive. For people like me that write crime fiction, again, I just walk out my front door and that's the world's there. My latest book I set in the one I'm editing, I set in Dallas. I mean, I had a Google map up, so I knew the streets, but the streets are the streets named, I just put my character in those places. So, you guys are far, far more talented than I am. And I got to tell you, it's pretty cool. I've never gotten into reading this stuff, this type of fantasy before. And when I read Heroes, I got a huge author crush on Dina and on Jess the Mess. I got to tell you, they just had me from page one. And so I've definitely been buying more of these books and reading more of this genre. And I really like it. I do enjoy it. It takes me away from what I'm normally reading, and I was trying to get out of that. And it's funny because you mentioned Tolkien, and I swear to God, during COVID at work, we were super slow, and we had all kinds of time. Like I'd go a whole 12-hour shift and not talk to anybody at all on the phone. Like there was nothing happening. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to read that. I couldn't make it 100 pages. 100 pages are still in the Shire. For God's sakes, what the hell? I mean, the movies ruined it for me. They were so good. They just absolutely destroyed it for me. And I ended up putting the book down and putting it back on my wife's bookshelf. She said, how was it? I said, I don't freaking know. I couldn't do it. Like, come on, man, speed up. I get it. I'm sure they're amazing, and I'm sure if I would have stuck in it for another 50 pages, I would have got through the Shire and I've been happy. But I just decided to read something else instead. So uh, again,
No,
you guys are the true artists.
there's this whole YouTube video of some guy spoofing Tolkien, and it's a very cute video. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. If I can find it again, I'll send it to you. But it's literally like he's ad-libbing the characters and then also ad-libbing the narrators, like, okay, so we're gonna go to, defeat Sauron now. Nope, we're walking, 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 walking. I'm like, yeah, that's the majority of the books.
All right. So what else? Anything else out there? Any works in progress? Like I said, you got like 5 books you're editing. Anything else that's like bouncing around in your head that you're thinking about possibly getting into?
Yeah, I've actually just started publishing. This year I did the first in a series. They're not going to be all conjoined together, but it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a collection of kind of throwback to the old fairy tales. They had a specific feel. Now that feel was very vague because those
Mm-hmm.
old fairy tales were like a paragraph, 2 pages. They were short stories,
Right.
super vague. But I kind of had this idea of like writing shorter stories. I'm a little bit burnt out this year, so I haven't been writing the novels that I did. That's why I put a lot of things on the shelf. I'm like, I'm not even going to do it justice right now. I don't have the mental
Yeah.
capacity for that. I'm going to write these shorter stories. It's very like 1, 2, 3, and we're at the door and we're in the
Mm-hmm.
plot and we're done. We're wrapped up. A lot less world building, even though there's still quite a bit. So I just put out the first one, the story of Loam. So that one follows a swamp witch, just like in old fairy tales. A knight comes to her doorstep. He asks for her help. She agrees. It's from her perspective instead of the knight's. So you kind of get like in her head about what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
how the story unfolds. So I'm going to do a collection of those works.
Oh, well, that sounds cool. I think still right up your alley. Right where you want to be. Right down the you got the gutter rails in, and you're doing what you need to do. Um, no, that's awesome. I mean, I also have like a trillion ideas bouncing around in my head at all times, and that's what the liquor does. It calms those voices down some. Uh, but yeah, that's great. Just I think the one thing I have learned is definitely I pumped out my first 2 books in like a year and a half, and then I finished the third one um, in like another 6 or 7 months, and now I've got the fourth one finished, and I'm editing it. I was editing it, and then my mind went to mush, and I can't. I just don't have anything right now. I'm trying, so I'm not able to write. I'm not able to do much of anything right now. So,
I feel you.
but
I feel you.
I just, if I get an idea, I just sit down and I'll write a couple paragraphs just to keep things kind of there. And plus, I don't want a clog of goo in my head where it just someday I just, I'm gonna like a hairball and just go blah, and it's just gonna be a mess, and I don't want that. But yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy the Wizard Ring. I'm going to get the first one though and read it first. Though I'm going to read them in order. If that's what needs to be done, I will do that, and we will check it out. And when I do, I will put a video review up like I always do, and we'll see where we're at. And when that happens, and we'll get you out there, and one of these days I'm going to be it's your signing there in the audience, holding your book, being like, Fanny, sign this for me, and you're going to be like, get out of here, bum.
Now I'm gonna go. That's my man. He just introduced me to my favorite gin. It's purple. It's purple.
It's purple gin. So, all right. Well, I think this was a very fun interview. Nice to meet you, and thank you so much. And tell the hubby I said hey, and tell the dog I want to pet your dog.